We're probably close to about 70% of our sales are for the knockdown rebuild market.
When you do a knockdown rebuild, you can start to look at things like orientation of your block and how to best utilise natural light and things like that.
Whoever the homeowner is understanding what they want from the home. So what's important? What are those key design elements within the house that they want?
If you're thinking about knocking down your current home and building a new one, where do you even start? Is it financially possible? And what else do you need to consider? In partnership with Homeworld, I'm here with Ryan Barnett, a master builder from Clarendon Homes, and James Vella from Masterton Homes to discuss everything you need to know about building new homes on existing home sites, or, as better known in the building industry, a knockdown rebuild. Thank you both so much for coming on the show today. It's a pretty meaty topic and there is a lot to cover, so we'll do our best to break things down. James, in its most basic form, how would you describe a knockdown rebuild?
Alice, a knockdown rebuild is where you knock down your existing home and replace it with a brand new home on the same parcel of land.
Okay, so why would somebody choose to do this?
Well, if that old home is getting old, getting small, starting to rust, starting to leak, what a great opportunity or a great option to do a knockdown rebuild and provide a better lifestyle for your family's needs.
I think something that also springs to mind there about why someone might choose to do this is you already live in an area you love, and quite often you've got your job close by, or your kids have got your schools close by. You've got built up amenities, so it's not having to completely buying a new area and integrate yourself there. You can live your existing lifestyle in this beautiful brand new home. Do we have any indication, James, on how many people are going down this path?
Quite a few. It's a massive part of our business.
Yeah.
Actually, this financial year, we're probably close to about 70% of our sales are for the knockdown rebuild market. So
wow.
It's terrific, massive part of our business. Yeah.
Oh, this 70%, is this an increase from years past? Like, what did this knockdown rebuild space used to look like?
Yeah, look, there's been a steady increase over the last 3 years, and I think it's just going to continue. I feel that the clients in this market are more immune from the current financial challenges and the higher interest rates that most of us face. So, financially they're more stable. Typically they've got pretty good equity in their properties. So knockdown rebuilds are a great option for them. The other thing too is in those established areas we were talking earlier, there's very little opportunity of vacant land. So more and more have to explore that knockdown rebuild option.
So look, apart from getting a brand new home in the area you love, and we did reel off a couple of the benefits before, what other benefits are there to a KDR?
You get to build a home that you design yourself with the current trends, fixtures, fittings. There's no real estate commission fees. Well,
there's no stamp duty.
There's no stamp duty
and
either.
That's a huge, something I refer to stamp duty as, it's a handbrake to mobility. It's a huge cost people generally have to factor into when they move. So if you do a KDR, there's none of that. That's amazing.
A big saving.
Yeah, absolutely. One other thing, and maybe you can attest to this, James, is if you are doing a KDR, a trend we're seeing is multi-generational living. So when you build that new home, is that something people are provisioning for?
We've got another popular option of KDR at the moment is duplexes and dual living. So
So knocking down one home and putting two on the block.
Putting two, it's works in many positive ways. You can live in one, sell the other, help pay off a chunk of your mortgage.
We could rent one to typically generate rental income.
Rent one, help you make those mortgage payments.
Yeah, exactly.
Help. If you've got elderly parents, they can live next door and you can look after them, or help your adult kids sort of live in one and they can help start saving towards their own homes.
Yeah,
so many benefits.
All of those benefits are major.
Yeah.
And so, Ryan, who are your typical customers doing it?
It does vary. So, but it's I think the main customer would be growing families. So
like an upsizer.
Upsizers, yeah. They've got young kids, or they're just looking to start to have kids. They've been in the area a long time. They've got the community. They've got schools if the kids are already at schools, or
that's a big one. Yeah.
Or sporting teams as we were discussing. So it's primarily those sort of growing families, but we do see a bit of a mix of some people are already living in the area. They might just be a couple, but they've sort of outlived their existing home.
So what are those people typically looking for in that new home?
Yeah, so I think the key thing is space. So it's about getting those extra bedrooms and those extra living spaces. And I think it's also, we live differently now. So it's a more modern style of living. You know, people prefer that open plan living as opposed to, separate, dining, living spaces, that more formal way of living through open plan. It's that connection between that indoor, outdoor living spaces is pretty key.
So are you seeing people buy existing homes and knock them down straight away, start with a new build? Or is that more rare? Do people typically live in the home for a bit first?
It does vary. We do see a lot of customers that, will have been there for a while. Some have even gone through the renovation discussions or, explored that. And that's come to be quite expensive, a lot more than they thought it might be.
Yeah.
And then that's when we do get a few inquiries of, customers have already been through that process, realise that actually it's quite an expensive process to renovate, and then they start having discussions with a builder to see if it can knock that down and get a brand new house. We do get the occasional people that, they're looking, they know the area they want to live in. They might not be in there yet. There might be a draw card like a school or family. And then for them, it's really just finding, they know the house they want, typically. They've got the dream home in mind. It's just then finding the right block to suit it. So it is a sort of those two different scenarios that we do see.
Okay, so if this is a path that people do want to take, what are the steps they need to take in order to make it happen?
It's a complicated process. I think the key step is whoever the homeowner is understanding what they want from the home. So what's important? What are those key design elements within the house that they want? And I think that is important that they spend that time, do their research, go out, visit display homes. If they're already living in the house and it's a knockdown rebuild, they've got the land. So then it's about what design will fit on their block and what they need from that home. So, and I guess with a lot of the builders at Clarendon Homes, we've got a range of designs to suit different block sizes that have been specifically designed for that knockdown rebuild space. So if they're already living there, they've got those set parameters of the block size. So they've got to work with those to fit the design. And we do allow customers to personalize the designs to get their outcome, but working off a base of a pre-designed house design for those blocks. So
okay, and then from there it's contracts, it's council approvals, it's build.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, well, it sounds like it's a bit of a process that, depending on where you are in stage one, that will then look a little bit different for everybody moving forward.
Yep.
So, James, I know there has been some recent legislative changes in this space. Which government sets the parameters for a knockdown rebuild? Is it state or is it local? And what types of challenges are you seeing in the area that you work?
Oh, you've got both. You've got the state government and the local governments.
Yep.
The state governments basically set the laws and codes, whereas the local government will set the actual guidelines and the approvals for your specific build.
Yep.
There's been some good recent changes with legislation, whereas they're trying to address the shortage of housing.
Yeah, big one.
Especially in Sydney, where they've basically reduced the size of land that you need to do, like the duplex, for example, or the dual living homes. That's been a very positive move in recent times.
James, how can your expertise help navigate any local council parameters?
We've got almost 65 years of local council experience. So our team at Masterton will obviously guide our customers through the whole process. And that's from the design, the pricing, and the process through obviously council all the way through the construction. There's so many things to consider when you are seeking approvals through whether it's the council or through what we call a compliant development. code, which is CDC. We've got obviously things like floor space ratio, building heights, building footprints, the setbacks of the home, the fronts, the rears, the sides that we've got to take into consideration. So we'll obviously make that as painless as possible for our customers, and work out the best and seamless transition to the new home. And typically we would advise our customers to look at the compliant development code, tick all the boxes with the compliance there. Well, then it'll streamline the process. It'll get us into construction quicker, which means a lot less holding costs for our customers. And if they've got a mortgage or if they're paying rent, depending on their temporary living arrangements while we build, that's a great saving.
Do you have anything to build upon that, Ryan?
Yeah, I think complying development, as James mentioned, it's the benefit of complying development is it's a state legislation. Yep. So the planning controls are standardised, which means that we can have homes designed to suit those standard requirements. They do obviously need to be checked to make sure they comply with the block of land. But I guess the benefit of the complying development approval pathway is it enables us as a builder to work with a private certifier as opposed to the local council. So which the key benefit there is time.
And it speeds up the process.
It absolutely speeds up the process.
How much faster on average? Like if you could just pull a figure out of the air.
I think it would be hard to put a figure on it, but it's considerably faster.
Yeah.
And not all councils have the same time frames. You might get a quick approval in a certain council area and another council area might be substantially longer.
It does sound like this CDC is a much faster pathway though.
Considerably. Some councils, the approval process can take months and months and months.
How long is a piece of string? Am I right?
Well, yeah. Whereas a compliant development, typically you get approval within 2 to 3 weeks. So it's a no-brainer that, if you can, we go down the compliant development line. Yeah.
Something that I learned when I was doing the research for this episode is that you can't always build on the same footprint on the land that the previous home was on. Is that what you mean by those rear setbacks and side setbacks?
Definitely. Like some of the older established areas, those homes are set back much closer to the front boundaries than what allowed at the moment. So where the current home might be 3 or 4 metres from the front boundary, you might have to push it back an extra 2 metres.
That's quite a bit of space.
It's a lot of space, especially when the blocks are getting smaller. It is more difficult.
So what would you say is then the most overlooked part of a knockdown rebuild process?
I think the key is you make sure you build the right home that suits the property. The things we've got to take into consideration, the actual site-specific costs, any restraints on that block of land, the slope of the land, the best orientation for the new home on the block of land. All those sorts of things have got to be taken into consideration.
Financially speaking, and you touched on a little bit before, Nathan, is a knockdown rebuild more budget friendly than a reno?
Well, I guess it depends on the extent of the renovation. If a family's looking at doing a full renovation to a home, we're talking kitchen, bathrooms, an extensive renovation, then before you know it, that gap does close. And I guess the benefits of a knockdown rebuild is you can have the home exactly as you'd like it. You don't have to compromise with working with the existing shell or footprint of the home that you do with a renovation. You can sort of take it as far as you'd like to, I guess, with a new build. So you can, get the size of the home you really want to suit your requirements. At the same time, you can, do numerous upgrades if your budget permits. So I think there's that flexibility and again, coming back to that key point of what's important for the customer of what they're looking to achieve. Is it space? Is it amenity? Is it lifestyle? What is the key thing? So.
And I think something else that springs to my mind, and it's to James's point before, when you do a knockdown rebuild, you can start to look at things like orientation of your block and how to best utilise natural light and things like that, because that then plays into home efficiency, right? So if you build an energy efficient kind of new home, you're all of a sudden using less of your heating, less of your cooling, brings your power bills down. But are there any unique costs associated with a knockdown rebuild? James touched on it before, so it might be, say, a sloping block. That would be unique cost. Accessibility issues. Do you see anything in the space that you're working?
Yeah, definitely. I think access is obviously.
Is that like side access to the house?
And just the width of the street potentially for deliveries and things like that. You've got existing trees in councils, on council's verge, power lines, slope. So if you've got challenging site that's got a lot of slope, knockdown rebuild areas can vary with their existing makeup of what the block is. You could have a block that's got rock as opposed to, something that's easier to build on. So there is a lot of these unknown, these variables. Some of them can be obvious and you can plan for those. But I guess there is that, added cost of a knockdown rebuild if it is a more challenging site. And again, I think that's probably the key importance of working with a builder that's had that experience in knockdown rebuild space. So they're aware of those costs, and those costs can be worked through and made sure that everyone's aware of what those costs are before you start the building process.
I think that's super useful intel, because an issue is only an issue unless you know how to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're aware of these unique costs and potentially what some people might call a setback, you're able to work through them and just push on forward with the project. But in Sydney, we're seeing some councils actively promote and approve duplexes, to your point before, James, to increase their density. Now, that is, of course, knocking down one home and putting two. James, are you seeing this?
It's definitely probably the most popular trend in our market, the duplex scene, and the dual living, which is the house with an attached granny flat. Mm-hmm. It's probably the most growth area in our market. Look, it's a great way to make wealth from your existing property. It's with the dual living, with the house and granny flat. It is the most growing trend in our market by far.
All right. Well, my final question, I'm going to get you both to answer this. I'll start with you, Ryan. How do you choose the right builder for this type of build? Look, what do buyers need to look for?
I think the key is experience.
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of builders, and the knockdown rebuild space does require a specific builder that's got that experience. Clarendon Homes, we've been doing knockdown rebuild for a very long time, and you learn lots of things, and we make sure that we make that process as simple as possible for the customers, make sure we're as transparent as possible with all the items they need to consider. It's a big process. It's a huge thing. It's financially probably the biggest investment most people will do in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it comes with costs, it comes with stress. So I guess working with an experienced builder helps to minimize that unnecessary stress, because it's tough. But I think we try and do it in a way to make it as easy as possible.
Do you have anything to add to that, James?
I concur with everything Ryan says. He's spot on. It's quite easy. Come to Masterton. We'll make the process as easy as possible for you. The big thing is to find a builder with lots and lots of experience. He's got lots of designs to help you work through. He's got lots of display homes, especially the guys out at Homeworld. We've got lots of display homes you can comfortably walk through and basically visualize your dreams for your new home. We make it pretty easy for you, because we build them and we fit them out with all the modern wants for society. So yeah, that's the best way. And the other thing is, make sure you choose a builder that's secure, that is going to be there to build your house at the end of the day and be around to warrant it for the years to come.
Well, it's that trust piece, right? I mean, as the average consumer, you don't know what you don't know. And so if I think of myself, I will be leaning heavily on that builder to guide me through the knockdown rebuild process. So I think you both hit it on the head. It's that experience that people really need to look for, because I loved what you said there, Nathan, about when you do more and more of these, you learn along the way, because that KDR space, it's best of both worlds, right? Live where you already love, get the house that you dream of. So thanks so much for chatting me through and chatting our listeners through the process of knockdown rebuild, and I hope you've enjoyed yourselves.
You're welcome, Alice. Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Alice. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me. This has been Real Talk. For your weekly fix, please follow wherever you listen to your podcasts, and tune in next time for more real questions, news and insights on the topics that matter most from realestate.com.au, Australia's #1 address in property. All information provided is general advice and opinion based on current market conditions. These opinions should not be treated as investment advice. Always obtain advice based on your individual circumstances.
Real Talk acknowledges the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and their connections to land, sea, air and community. We pay our respects to elders past and present.